solution. Bum, problem solved. Hello all, welcome here. Today I'm spilling the beans. I'm spilling those beans. My daughter slept through the night at 8 weeks. My son at 3 months, 12 hours, both 12 hours. Not every baby is the same. Do you hear me? Some babies don't sleep until they're 2. Some babies don't sleep till they're 4. Some babies sleep at 6 months, some babies at 12. This is just my experience with how I got my babies to sleep through the night at such a young age. Now there are 2 main factors to this video, and I'm going to be sharing them with you, and I think they are 2 top secrets. If you're not into kind of any sort of sleep training type videos or type techniques, then this probably isn't for you, because we definitely did sleep train. Do what's best for you and your baby. If your baby needs to be fed, feed. If your baby needs you, let them have you. This is just for those mums that are just needing a little bit extra. They need some support. They need to be backed up. And they need some sleep training habits. They need to get into a routine. This is for you, mama, if you need that. But always check with your midwives. Check with your doulas, I think they call them. I don't know, I don't think we have them here. We probably do. Check with your doctors. See if your baby's okay. If your baby's gaining weight, if your baby's happy and healthy in all ways, then these will work for you. If your baby is not happy and does need feeding, just feed your baby. Goodness sake, just feed your baby. Don't worry, it will get better. But this is for those mums that just need that little bit of help. Trust me, this is gonna work. Well, I hope. You have to do it right though. Our sleep training method, I'm just gonna hop straight in because there's a lot to kind of cover in this. Our sleep training method was with the Mums on Call. Like if you're from the UK, it's not M-U-M, it's M-O-M because they're American and are based in America. I first heard about this from actually Nathan Sutton. I don't know if anyone watches their videos or have ever seen them, but I used to watch them years ago before I had kids. And that was only 2 years ago, before I had kids and like really wanted kids and was really excited. And I thought, oh, I can get my babies to sleep through the night, and then saved this video that they spoke about their kids sleeping through the night. Go and have a look at their website because they'll have all the different information on there. I simply bought the book, Mums on Call, 0 to 6 months. And I actually bought it on the iPad, so I just referred to it on there because the packaging, shipping was like 20 quid and the book was like £7 or something like that, and I thought, nah. But it's a baby care and sleep training guide, and it works in the sense that it stretches out the sleep for your baby, and it helps the baby develop tools for sort of self-soothing kind of techniques. Basically, Mums on Call talk about these things called sleep cycles. So they tend to go between 30 and 40 minutes into nap time, and every 2 to 3 hours in the night time. Let me just check that. Yeah, every 2 to 3 hours in the night time. And so they think, and it's worked for us, that they have another sleep cycle in them. They're just experiencing, when they wake up from those little times, they're experiencing something called twilight sleep, which is basically when their body becomes more alert during their sleep time. So they're still kind of sleepy and they definitely want more sleep, but they're just more alert. And they often wake themselves up basically in this twilight space. And they wake up and then they'll probably just cry. And then you just get them immediately and then you fix their problem. And then sometimes you can't fix their problem because they're not hungry, they don't need to be burped, they don't need to be changed, they're just waking up and they're crying, and you're going crazy because you're thinking, why will this child not sleep, when really they just needed to learn the basic tools for self-soothing to help them get back to sleep, to come out of this twilight sleep again and back in to the deep sleep. So they say if your baby has been crying for sort of 5 minutes, and I do set a timer because 5 minutes feels like such a long time, honestly, such a long time when they're just crying. When they're younger than 3 months, it's definitely a shorter amount of time than 5 minutes. But when they sort of hit that 3 month, it's about 5 minutes. And also they do encourage, like, it's just whatever time you're comfortable with. So if you want to set a timer for 4, if you want to do 10, some women are hardcore. Once you go in after 5 minutes, if they're still crying, then before dealing with feeding, because don't forget we're encouraging stretching of sleep, before feeding we follow these 5 steps of a soothing technique. So the first step, you go in or you go to your baby and you check if they need to be re-swaddled. How's their swaddle looking? Because the swaddle, according to Mums on Call, is the most important step. If they need to be re-swaddled, we'll re-swaddle them. Number 2, before you deal with any other need, you shush and rub their belly. and you're just sort of rubbing them like this, rubbing their belly, and then you're basically putting your hand on your baby and giving them a gentle rock, like that, a gentle rock, patting and shushing. I love that this is my little prop here, unexpected little faithful prop. So as your baby's crying, they're all swaddled, you've checked their swaddle's nice and tight, you're putting your hand on their belly, you're patting, you're doing this. At this point, a crucial step is to make sure you have white noise as loud as possible. Really loud white noise, or you're using your shh, shh, shh. But from my experience, my 2 babies, white noise has been a game changer. So you're encouraging that for a few minutes, and then you're going to give them back their dummy or their pacifier, and then encourage them to just self-soothe, get that comfort, get that wiggling back. And then from that point, they go on to soothing techniques. Now they have this technique called the Ferris wheel. So you lift up your baby like you lift up your baby like this, and then you rock like this, and you're going in like a Ferris wheel direction. And this looks kind of crazy, and you know what? You are gonna have biceps for days. They're gonna be huge. But this technique, just doing that and etc. Oh, I really felt like that was my baby for a second. Really helps to soothe. And then you're gonna leave the room. You leave the room and you wait. And then you give them another 5 minutes, or however long you're comfortable with. And then you go back in, you check their swaddle, you put the dummy in, you're shushing and you're jiggling just gently, and then you're coming back out. And you're gonna do that at least 3 times before the next step. At least 3 times. I know, it feels like a lifetime. You know, in the middle of the night, you're just, oh, you can't be bothered for this, you just want to go to sleep. But trust me, it's worth it, because if you're doing this for, you know, a maximum of a couple weeks every night, you're sleeping 12 hours a night beyond that point. And it's totally worth it. It's totally worth the effort. It's totally worth putting in your tired energy into making this work. If we make it to the 3rd time, then you're just going to go in, you're going to feed. You're going to feed, of course. You're going to feed your baby. You're going to go in, change the nappy, do the thing, feed, and then you put them back to bed, all nice and swaddled, dummy in, and then the next time they wake up, you do the same process. You wait 5 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with. You go in, you shush your dummy, you're just doing all the steps before feeding to try and stretch their sleep. Encourage them that they can go that little bit longer without food, and that is okay for them, and their body can adjust to that very easily. Now, of course, obviously making sure that your baby is gaining weight and is happy. That's a given, granted, of course. Important step to all of this. Sorry, am I going into too much detail? I have no idea. I could make a separate video on this, but here we are. Another detail is to make sure it's pitch black and white noise. And I had people be like, oh, they'll never be able to sleep in any other environment ever again because you've encouraged white noise too much and pitch black, you know, atmosphere, and it has to be perfect in these perfect conditions. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I sleep 12 hours a night. Do you? Do you? We do, and we have done for a long time. So yes, I'm going to have those perfect conditions, and yes, they've been absolutely fine, and they don't need white noise anymore, they don't need black rooms, they sleep in daytime, nighttime, white noise, no white noise, noise, building work, anything. They are fine. People just like to scare you, and it's kind of weird. Important part of this, and I encourage you to just check this out for yourselves because I don't want to get into too much detail, is that during the day they have quite a rigid schedule, and so, you know, the 12 hours that they're awake during the day is quite routined, and it basically follows a simple eat, wake, sleep pattern, but it works on timings, and so you'll try and push the feed to 12 p.m. If it's 11:45, you can feed, but if it's 11:30, you're kind of like, oh, I'll just comfort my baby a little bit more until 12. And so they make sure they're basically getting all the feeds that they possibly can throughout the day. And that's why this schedule works well, because it means they're getting every feed they need. They're feeding for a good amount of time. You have to feed for a certain amount of time with the mums on call. You're not just like quickly popping out and then done, and then they have to wait 3 hours. It doesn't work like that. It encourages like full feeds, to sit down and to feed and to really persist with that, and making sure they're really, really full by the time they're finished, and then you move on and then you do that again in a couple hours rather than sort of bitting and bobbing. And that's why the schedule during the day is important, because it makes sure that your baby has enough. Because if you're not following the schedule, then your baby has little, and they might have little and often, and then they get used to little and often, and then they just want a little bit here and then a big feed, and then they want a little feed before they go to bed. The goal is to have a massive feed before they go to bed, so they're nice and full, so that during the night they don't need as much. and then it kind of encourages that. So I definitely check out how to do that sort of routine during the day, and let me know. I can make a video on that if that is useful to you guys too. At the end of the day, we want our babies to be full and we want them to gain weight, so that routine during the day is definitely going to help them do that. They start this sleep training from around 2 weeks to around 3 months old. They don't really do it under 2 weeks, but as soon as they kind of hit 2 weeks and you're getting into like an eat, play, sleep pattern, then you can kind of implement this, and I would actually recommend, because it works. It works. It works. They sleep. It works. My babies sleep. With all of this, like I said earlier, we use the SNOO bassinet. I think this played a big part, personally. Definitely do mums on call. I think that's great if it works for your baby. But we also use the SNOO bassinet. I'm going to be making a big video on this. I'm going to do a huge review on the SNOO. Its negatives, its positives, and it's going to be really useful to you guys to know whether you should purchase it for yourselves, because trust me, it is expensive, but in my view, 100% worth it. A combination of the SNOO and mums on call, and you're kind of sailing through. I'll let you know if that continues with future babies. Probably not, but we'll see. Basically, if you don't know what the SNOO is, it's a bassinet that slightly rocks your baby according to their cries. I think the kids are about to come in. That's fine, we'll leave that there. I'll show you the video later on. Also, if you're watching this and you're a super tired mum and you just want sleep, honestly, you just want sleep, and you see all these videos like, my kids sleep so well. Every kid and baby, it's just so different. So I just want to encourage you, this season will end. You won't always be waking up in the night. Some babies just need extra love, extra food, extra blah, blah, blah. So just, you're doing great and you will get through it. Have another cup of coffee or tea, whatever works for you, and you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. So don't think that, you know, my life is so easy because they sleep. Sometimes we have nights where they do wake up occasionally, but it's because of the routines that we've implemented. It's so easy to get them back down, and they definitely really don't wake up anymore. I'm talking when they were a bit younger, but I just want to encourage you, if you're here just looking for help, anything to survive, then I hope this video has been helpful to you. Please join our motherhood and lifestyle and homemaking community if you like that kind of stuff. I'm so glad you're here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Living in that vintage dream.